First at 4, it's a delicate operation. You're looking at live pictures of the water main repairs in Oakland County. 12 communities waiting and hoping this mission is successful as quickly as possible. Paula.
Hi, Karen. We've certainly heard of travel advisories to international lands, but this one issued today by a group really is inside this country, and it's aimed at a very specific ethnic group. Karen?
All right, Paula, also ahead, a mega winner right here in Metro Detroit. This is a story many of you are talking about. Hi there, Ben.
Karen, don't let the sunshine fool you. We are in the middle of our coldest day of the season, and some of us are headed to freezing tonight. Your 4-zone forecast is next. First at 4.
Live from downtown Detroit, Local 4 News First at 4 starts now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Karen Drew. First at 4, step by step. Repair crews are working to fix a broken water main that's affecting a few 100,000 people in Oakland County. 12 communities are still under a boil water advisory. You can see the cities on your screen right now. The trouble started Monday night. Things may not be back to normal until the weekend. Let's go to Rod Maloney at the scene, 14 Mile Road and Drake. So how are things going at this hour, Rod?
Karen, take a look behind me here. You can see that white pipe that they're working on. They're cutting that pipe. Well, that's the distance they are away from having this water main repaired. That is the second of 2 pieces that they need to drop into the ditch here to get the water main fixed. But it was a little long, so you got a guy on there with a diamond cutting saw getting off the back end of that pipe so they can actually fit it in the hole and then make sure they put it on the old pipes that are not broken. And so they've been making steady progress all day. That pipe came in from Illinois this morning. They trucked it in, and it was an intricate operation, to say the least. But the other thing about this all is the inconvenience. Now, we're told that there are about 35,000 people in Farmington Hills who either have low or no water pressure. But it was a revelation to us because we spent hours trying to find somebody in that condition, did not find them. And the Great Lakes Water Authority people were actually quite emboldened and happy to hear that, because what that means is that the water pressure is slowly but surely getting fixed in the area here, and there was a valve that needed to be fixed in order to get that taken care of. But that's all part of the technical repairs. Let's talk a little bit about what the people are experiencing and what they have to say about this. Let's hear from some of the neighbors.
It's a mess, but hopefully going to get fixed soon.
Not inconvenient as of yet, but it is surprising. It's the amount of time that it's taking to fix this and how many businesses and residents have been affected by this.
Yeah. It's just my husband and me, so we've had boiling water, we got some water, we still have water in the house. Our kids live in Commerce, so they're affected more because the schools are out.
Well, we are really getting to the end of the worst of this. It's looking like they can have this thing fixed this afternoon. If that's the case, they start testing the water. They figure by about midnight Friday night, they can take out the boil water alert. So that's the schedule right now. It appears they're on schedule, but we'll stay on top of it. We got much more to talk about. We'll be back on Local 4 News at 5, a little bit more detail about all of this. But for now, Rod Maloney, live in Farmington Hills, Local 4 News.
All right. Thank you, Rod. We'll see you at 5, and there is still more to come in the water emergency tonight at 5. A look at how schools are coping as many students head back to class. Help Me Hank is investigating scams that are popping up connected to this water emergency. What you need to know to spot a ripoff. And ClickOnDetroit.com is always updating the status of the repairs and the list of which schools are closed. The city of Detroit will elect a new mayor in less than 2 weeks, and Local 4 is hosting the only debate in that race, and that happens in just a few hours. Incumbent Mike Duggan and State Senator Coleman Young II will share their visions for the city's future tonight at 8 o'clock right here on Local 4. Then watch the post-debate webcast only on ClickOnDetroit.com. Friday the 13th was pretty lucky for this Waterford man over here as he won part of a Mega Millions jackpot. Kevin Blake says he stopped in at the 7-Eleven on Airport Road to pick up his usual lotto ticket. The next day, he found out he was suddenly $21 million richer, winning half of a $42 million prize. Many of you are following his story at ClickOnDetroit.com today. Tonight at 5, Blake talks about his future. Will he quit his job? His surprising answer, new at 5. Well, our luck has run out when it comes to those warmer fall temperatures. You can feel the chill in the air, and it's getting colder. Ben, how cold is it going to get tonight?
Yeah, we have been living on borrowed time, Karen. We have seen those temperatures now only into the 40s. A couple lucky spots have actually topped out at 50 degrees, but we're going down to near freezing tonight for a good chunk of us, and we'll look at that in the 4-zone forecast coming up. As far as the moisture goes, even though there's some peaks of sunshine out there, we still get a few light showers, but this is nothing nearly as intense as what we picked up yesterday or as widespread. So coming up, we're going to look at those temperatures tonight, see who goes below freezing and how long is this going to last. Will we be dealing with this all the way through the 7-day forecast? That's coming up, Karen.
Thank you very much, Ben. American Airlines is the focus of an unusual travel advisory. The NAACP is telling African Americans to be careful when flying one of the biggest airlines in the United States. It's based on complaints from African American passengers. Our Paula Tutman is at Metro Airport with more on the advisory and the reaction from American. Paula.
Hi, Karen. Yeah, the national office is pretty circumspect about issuing any kinds of advisories. They have done it in the past before. They do an investigation. Once they seem to get a lot of complaints, and once they do an investigation, if they feel like it's not safe for people to travel, they issue this advisory. That kind of advisory was issued today. Cue the welcoming committee. Zion is back from his pre-college tour at Columbia. He will graduate from Cass Tech as a 6'2", 16-year-old studying astrophysics.
He was sent here for a purpose and he's following it.
On his return flight to Detroit, however, he did have one complaint about his American Airlines flight.
It was kind of a small plane, so every time I got up, my head was like this.
Likely anyone, no matter their size, might have that complaint. But today, the national branch of the NAACP charges there's something more sinister and more dangerously systemic than tight seating on the plane. Today, a travel advisory was issued for blacks traveling the airline based on a multi-month, multi-incident investigation into complaints by African-American passengers.
They put together a pattern of incidents which would lend itself to, wait a minute, time out. Maybe we need to call an alert for our folks.
President of the Detroit chapter, Reverend Wendell Anthony, is quick to point out this is not a boycott. It is simply a warning.
When the nation feels as though if you go to a particular part of the world that you somehow may be the victim of certain kinds of actions, they give you an advisory. And I think this is what the NAACP National Office has done now.
Back at the airport, Zion's mom, Leslie, was shocked to hear about the specific advisory, but not the specifics.
I'm cautious all the time. That's how I live my life. So it's not anything new for me to be cautious about being black in America. That's just another tick on the list of places or companies to be mindful of.
Her son, however, feels such an advisory is not warranted.
I don't feel a need to have to isolate certain airlines for that.
For its part, the chairman and CEO of American Airlines says in a written statement today, bringing people together is what this airline espouses, to make the world a smaller, more inclusive place. He says, we do not and will not tolerate discrimination of any kind. We have reached out to the NAACP and are eager to meet with them to listen to their issues and concerns. Reverend Anthony is encouraged that the airlines wasted no time in reaching out to the national office, and he's interested to hear what comes of this. And of course, we will absolutely keep you posted, Karen.
All right. Thank you very much, Paula. International travelers are looking at new security procedures today whenever they fly into the United States, but there is some confusion about those procedures. A TSA spokesperson says the rules will affect all flights from foreign countries into the U.S. She estimates that about 2,100 flights a day. Companies like Air France, Egypt Air, and Lufthansa say they will start new security interviews tomorrow. Now, it will vary from airline to airline, whether that involves a questionnaire or perhaps an actual interview. You definitely want to check with your airline if you're doing any international travel so you know exactly what to expect. Las Vegas shooter Stephen Paddock, who you see right here, made headlines after killing 58 people earlier this month. Well, today it is his brother who is in the headlines for suspected criminal activity. Bruce Paddock, pictured here, was arrested today in Los Angeles. He is suspected of possessing child pornography. Bruce is not considered a suspect in the Las Vegas shooting, and officials say the child porn case predates the shooting. The music world is mourning a rock and roll legend this afternoon. Fats Domino has died. People of all ages remember this song. The New Orleans native sold over 65 million records during his very long career. In the 1950s, he actually outsold every artist except for Elvis Presley, who referred to Domino as the real king of rock and roll. Right now, we only know that Domino died of natural causes. He was 89 years old. Still ahead, a Fisher-Price fire danger. The company is telling parents to stop using one of its products. We have a Help Me Hank consumer alert. Also, Eminem wins more than $400,000 plus interest. The court battle that mixed music and politics. And a double shooting on a college campus. The story behind the violence at a historically African-American university next.
Scalped by. Coming up all new on Local 4 News at 5 and 6.
1 in 3 families, 33,000 dead from overdosing on opioids. That's heroin and prescription pain pills. We know it's a crisis, and you can help fight it at home right now. I'll have the checklist to help protect you and your loved ones from this epidemic starting at 5.
All right, thank you, Doc. First at 4 continues now with stories making headlines all across America. We start with a double shooting on a college campus. It happened at Grambling State University, which is a historically African-American school in northern Louisiana. Police say a fight inside a dorm room spilled into a courtyard, leaving 2 men dead, both just 23 years old. The gunman still on the loose this afternoon, but police have not released any description of that suspect yet. The school did open for classes as the search continues. The violence comes in the middle of homecoming festivities. American consumers will soon have less protection when it comes to fighting those big banks, thanks to a vote by Vice President Mike Pence. Pence cast the vote that broke a tie in the U.S. Senate last night. The 51-50 vote will get rid of a rule that allowed consumers to join together to sue banks and credit card companies. Instead, banks will now be able to force you into arbitration. The White House maintains the bill is good for consumers, while Democrat Elizabeth Warren calls the bill, quote, a giant wet kiss to Wall Street. President Trump is expected to sign that bill. We also have a new Help Me Hank consumer alert for thousands of parents today. Fisher-Price has launched a recall of this soothing motion seat because of a potential fire danger. The company has received 36 reports of the product's overheating and 1 report of a fire in the soother's motor. The recall affects about 63,000 seats with specific model numbers. They were sold at stores like Target, Buy Buy Baby, and Walmart from November 2015 through this month. Stop using the affected products and make sure to contact Fisher-Price for a full refund. You can find more product information on the Help Me Hank page at clickondetroit.com. Well, Ben is back, and I guess you could say so is fall.
Are you ready?
You know, I am. It always seems that first cold breeze, or that you seem wimpy, you know, and then like in a month from now, we'll be like, that wasn't cold at all.
It's like ripping off the Band-Aid.
It is. It was a little tough out there. I was shooting a story and I was kind of complaining.
Yeah, it's cold. It's noticeably chillier than what we were dealing with yesterday. The one thing we don't have are the winds, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But look at how much of the Midwest is under either a frost advisory or even a freeze warning here in central parts of Ohio. Notice that none of us are under that. And the reason why is we're still expecting temperatures to get to 32 or below in some spots, but the Weather Service has decided that the growing season is over, so it's not going to issue frost and freeze advisories as we go forward until we get into next year. 49 is where we sit right now temperature-wise. We've got a west wind at 9, so the winds are calmer than what we were dealing with yesterday. In fact, all over the area, mostly single-digit wind speeds, a little bit higher as you get out into our west zone, Howell and Flint, with 10 and 14 mile-per-hour winds, respectively. Otherwise, we're still watching a few showers. You can see some moisture here on the radar. It is all in the liquid form, thank goodness, as that moves through. There's mostly green up here with that lake effect snow showers, or lake effect showers, I should say. There were snow showers in northern parts of lower Michigan earlier today and last night. Of course, parts of the UP actually got accumulating snow. Now, as we go forward into tomorrow morning, when we wake up, we are going to see clear skies, calm winds. That's the perfect setup to see these temperatures really drop drop like a rock, and that's why we're anticipating temperatures are going to be close to the freezing mark in the morning. But we will recover nicely with a lot of sunshine, getting warmer than we were today. A little bit milder. In fact, our warmest day of the forecast is going to be on Friday. It is going to be coming with clouds and at least a chance of a shower. Models trying to keep most of the moisture out to our east, but I think there's a good chance, especially in our metro zone, that we are going to see some evening showers on Friday. And then a cold front comes through and we start dropping those temperatures again. You can see all that moisture wrapping around in the form of snow. The big question remains, are we going to see a few flakes as we wrap up the weekend? We'll talk about that in a second, but look at these lows tonight. Here's your 4-zone forecast. 36 is what we're going to wake up to in Dearborn and Detroit, and the further away from the city you get, the colder those numbers get. 34 officially at the airport. South Zone, that's where we'll probably see a few of these 32s, especially out in Lenawee County. Out towards the lake, a little bit milder, 34. West Zone, 32, maybe 31 in a couple spots. Howell, Flint could be some of the coldest locations waking up tomorrow morning. And in our North Zone, it's going to be generally 32 and below, with just 33 here from Waterford, Rochester Hills, and Macomb. And by the way, it doesn't look like we're going to experience any widespread frost because we still have some pretty warm ground and the soil is pretty moist, so that should keep the frost away. Otherwise, plenty of sunshine tomorrow as we go to 53. We bounce to the 60s, barely, on Friday, and then start getting colder as we get into Sunday. Could see a few snowflakes, wet snowflakes mixed in with the rain on Monday. We are not looking for any accumulation, but as Karen said, first one's always the hardest, right?
All right. Thank you, Ben. In trending stories, Taco Bell is experimenting with a new flavor combination. It's a salty sweet combination. Find out if you would like to give it a try. Up first, soccer players trying to undo the damage from anti-Semitic images. They're starting each game with readings from a world-famous diary. That story's next. You might call this a crash course in cultural sensitivity. Italian soccer players will be hearing passages from Anne Frank's diary all week long. That's one step the Italian Soccer Federation is taking after some really shocking and disturbing images of Frank showed up this weekend. On Sunday, fans of the Lazio Soccer Club posted photos of Anne Frank wearing a jersey from rival team Roma. The stickers included anti-Semitic slogans. The Federation will also observe a minute of silence before games to promote Holocaust remembrance. In trending stories today, Detroit's own Eminem wins an unusual court battle mixing music and politics. The New Zealand court has ordered that country's main conservative party to pay Eminem's publisher $415,000 plus interest for a copyright breach. Take a listen. The court decided that music, which was used in political ads, sounded too much like Eminem's big hit Lose Yourself. It could set a precedent for people who try to use sound-alike music, sometimes sold by commercial operators. Totally sounded exactly the same.
Yep.
Taco Bell cooking up something new just in time for Halloween. It is being dubbed the Chocodilla. Take a look at the new dessert. It is a flour tortilla stuffed with melted Kit Kats or Twix bars. The concoctions are being tested in Wisconsin through mid-November. They only cost $1. Customer feedback will decide if the treats come to Taco Bell's around the country.
Yes, please.
I would totally do. I would do the Kit Kat.
Yeah.
We have so much in common. Or Reese's. If they did Reese's, I would be there all night.
That would be a mess, but yes.
Remember that movie Up, where balloons carry that man's house up and away? Well, now one man trying to do something similar in real life. We'll show you what happened next.
When you hear the word gang, it's normally a negative thing. But not this gang.
Come on now, here we go.
This gang is helping thousands of children become leaders.
There's bad gangs out there that are corrupting the lives of children, but we wanted to show them they can be a part of the Good News Gang.
The Good News Gang helps kids in the city of Detroit who would oftentimes have nowhere to go.
It's vital that we go out and rescue them and bring them in on our buses so that they can have a chance.
A chance to learn, a chance to forget their troubles, a chance to dance. We'll introduce you to the Good News Gang tonight at 11.
First at 4, remember the movie Up, where thousands and thousands of balloons carried a house away? You probably didn't see it.
No, but I remember.
But you remember
seeing the
it because I've seen it like 5 billion
about.
times with my kids.
Take a look at this. British adventurer Tom Morgan able to float 8,300 feet in the air. That's more than a mile in a camping chair. connected to a bunch of large party balloons.
He says he landed 15 miles away by popping some of the balloons to come back down. He described the experience as, quote, peaceful and terrifying in equal measure.
Wow, good thing to say.
I know. I think I would pass on that one. Thanks for joining us for First at 4. Inside Edition's next.